December 1973 in Fort Worth, Texas. After just 21 months of development, the prototype to what was to become the F-16 was presented. The first successful flight happened just 2 months later. The iconic bubble canopy to give the pilot great all-round visibility, and inside a first-of-its-kind fly-by-wire control system, where computers fly the aircraft according to how the pilot applies pressure to the controls.
A high-performance single-engine fighter flashes over the desert base at supersonic speed for the first time.
The sum of all that is a fighter jet that is extremely maneuverable and has been used for a lot of different types of combat missions around the world.
The YF-16 is everything an air combat fighter has to be. It is nimble, maneuverable.
Fast forward more than 50 years and the shape is more or less the same. But inside, everything is upgraded. And that's badly needed, NATO says, because of the threat from Russia over the past few years. February 2025, and there's a flurry of diplomatic activity about a possible peace deal. All the while, Ukraine continues defending itself against attacks. And those attacks highlight, the country says, the need to replace aging Soviet-era jets with modern Western aircraft.
For
the first group of pilots who arrived in Ukraine and started using them in the Ukrainian sky, the main priority is air defense. F-16s are wonderful interceptor planes. That's what they were created for, to intercept targets in the air. But they're also multi-purpose planes which can attack targets on the land and on the water. But we're now at the stage of using F-16 planes effectively to intercept targets in the air, such as cruise missiles and the enemy's Shahed drones.
The F-16 is the first Western fighter jet the Ukrainians have started operating. So I've come to Spangdahlem Air Base in Germany. It's a chilly week in January, and I'm meeting the 52nd Fighter Wing of the US Air Force. They host the 480th Fighter Squadron of F-16 jets. This squadron has no involvement in the war in Ukraine, but they do specialize in flying missions very similar to the ones Ukrainians are flying. And here they're very clear about the threat from Russia. This squadron flies a very particular type of mission. Pilots head towards the feared surface-to-air missile sites, seeking out and destroying them with missiles to protect friendly aircraft. They also fly defensive counter-air missions, those designed to defend airspace. That's very similar to the way Ukraine uses their F-16s. Further east of here, F-16s continue to play an important role protecting the skies over Ukraine.
At the moment, the F-16s in Ukraine are in many ways kind of the vanguard for what is planned to be a build-up to much greater force, as particularly a new generation of Ukrainian pilots who've been trained from the outset by Western air forces who are kind of going through F-16 conversion.
As for this US squadron, its role is pivotal in Europe. But with a new president, potentially different priorities. 5 years ago, Donald Trump suggested pulling some US forces out of Germany to be relocated elsewhere in Europe. No word yet on what the new administration may or may not do, but the US Air Force leadership in Europe says American forces will be ready for whatever is decided.
Look, at our level in the military, you know our relationships. We have some civilian control, direction of the military. I expect policy changes to occur. Have no idea what those are, but I can assure you what I do expect is they will be direct, they will be clear, we will know their intent, and we will move out. And we'll execute those policies from a military perspective and a diplomacy perspective as well. You know, when that comes through the administration, but I think through the National Security Advisors, National Security Council, through the cabinet, they're going to sort their game plan and we'll be ready to execute.
This squadron at Spangdahlem delivers what the fighter wing describes as world-class support to conduct wartime and contingency missions, underpinned by aircraft maintainers and operational teams, in defending the skies here and beyond.